So it got a little darker, but I'll just stop. I guess I can zoom in a little, move a little slower. So we left off at Robot Frog. And then Gonzo the Great. And then over to Robot Reflections. Back to Nudity and Opinion by Sam the Eagle. That's Sam the Eagle. Then on over to Robot in Love and into Furniture Monster. This is the Muppet, the upside down Muppet world over to Pigs in Space. So this is This is what the future. So we're talking about the future right now, so-called future. But what about the past space? That's the thing. We're happy about going into space, but what about all the people that already been in space? What about all the people here that already know about people in space? The Dogon and the Incas and the Mayan and what about the Nazca lines and all these crop circles? All these questions, all these are things that are out there that we don't really go into because they're not on the agenda, the mainstream agenda, or some kind of agenda that is so. I gotta get some more light in here. I'll just go slowly or stay on a page or just stay focused right here. Yeah. So yeah, there's an agenda being sold. There's all the time. There's when they have to go through a whole thing of have to go through a whole thing of creating the television, creating the healthcare system, which is just a sick care system, creating an education system, which is just a psychological programming / sick mind system, and the food, genetically modify the food and put stuff, chemtrails in the air and put fluoride in the water. When all these things that get sold so heavily, we have to understand, at least sit in a moment and realize that there's a reason behind this. There's another side of humanity that we are not privy to right now because of the conditioned stories that are being sold over and over again in every moment. The so-called reality. We got simultaneous realities going on with the obvious stuff is television. That's an obvious reality that we can differentiate, just like Muppets, between what is real and not real, or cartoons and all kinds of different versions of reality that exist, and they're blending right now. Like HBO is a blending windmills of your mind. Yeah, so blending television with actual stories that are out there. So Tomorrowland was a movie that came out. I haven't even seen it yet. Talking about all kinds of futuristic stuff, and then you go into the event of Tomorrowland and all the other stuff that's connected to. So this like playing different, like merging realities and saying one is, mixing ideas, the so-called fantasy with the reality of mainstream culture. They're being sold to us like it's not a big deal, or things are happening like it's not really a big deal, but we can't really see the side effects of, like, the side effects of Wi-Fi, the side effects of 10 years down the road, and the side effects of all these prescriptions that they're putting on television, and different things that are just being approved by the FDA, which is just like the Federal Reserve, just like cousins, just in the Food and Drug Administration part of it. The Federal Reserve is more focused on the monetary chess game of the situation. There's other groups that are focused on our health and lack thereof. So it's yeah, there's multiple storylines that are going on. I don't want to repeat myself any more than I already have with all that's out there. But then I guess the main focus of that is the simplicity of it all. Once we get more into how far these go, we see how connected we are even more. More stories connect the dots. If it doesn't make sense, if something comes across that doesn't make sense, there's a everything is a thread that's connected to another thread. So it's not about the judging on something that creating a judgment of something that makes sense or doesn't make sense, or this is this and this and that. It's more about feeling, intuiting, understanding what it is that's going on from different observation points than just a linear kind of, like you can see an intellectual a universe, like a professor would look at something, or a lawyer would look at something from their perspective, but somebody else would look at it from their perspective, and there's all kinds of different perspectives, and you can mix those and use like empathically connect to your mother's perspective, or your cousins or your aunts or uncles' perspective, and you can feel something now, feel how they would feel out something, and then that's an actual another dot, because in that understanding, in that connection to their observation points, to their hearts, to their focus, to their vision, to what they've gone through and how they can see things and why they see things, that's another way to see our own reality, and it creates a deeper connection not only with us, with the person you're talking to, but it creates a deeper connection with other people, just from knowing those connections exist, and just sort of expanding the awareness of a connected reality. And in that connection, more love is there. There's more depth. There's a thicker feel, a thicker sort of essence that is just kind of radiating out of the experience, out of each other, and each moment just grows and grows like a bubble, and it's just like falling in love on a different frequency with, the more and more you know yourself and know somebody else, you fall in love with them. You fall in love with yourself, you love yourself more, you can love the people around you even more. and the stories just get deeper and deeper and more connected. That love just gets deeper and deeper. So, how to make a frog jealous? Wow. This is all a whole culture. Like, this book, this goes through, it tells a lot of stories. There's a lot of stories that go through. I mean, you can see the stories, the subconscious layers that are here, and it's just, wow. I mean, it even gets extremely political, and you can take it as far. You could go really deep. Look at all this stuff. I'm not even gonna go through that. Jim Henson did it all. Did all that. And connecting these dots. See all these artists. We all connect dots in our own way. We tell stories in our own way. We feel in our own way, and in that harmonic chaos, we put them all together. That's the essence. That's the organic nature of humanity, where something clicks on. And that is the organic singularity, and not needing of mechanical devices or anything. It's just tapping into our essence naturally, and allow that to be explored. And then we'll see that we won't need combustion engines or any kind of space age ships to be going out into space, because that same space exists within us, and we can still go out and explore. But we will find better what's the word, styles, I guess, better formats of travel if we understand the internal infinity even more so. It's like understanding this, just the depths of what's already here, what's already been done, the lines and the circles working together, the everybody's perspective from the intuitive spaces. Everybody intuitively turned into understanding and understanding how we could live peacefully on this planet. Check in with the kids, check in with the grandmothers, find a little space in the center and figure it out. Man and woman, man, kids, animals, everything. Just be we be playing our music. So, horror house. Yeah, these stories, like horror as a genre, just like that's a genre right now. What about the other style? What's the opposite of horror? Where's that genre? What's that? Because we see fear on a daily basis. You can turn on the news and know that fear is there. Fear is the main entree. So, what's the deal with all this magic being sold on a regular basis? It's a trip. It's a real trip looking back on these. these little stories that exist. You know, back to the artist. I'm gonna leave it here.